Hello, everybody, again, and welcome to the Inspire View series. My name is Cherrise Boucher of CherriseBoucher.com, and I am a transformational life coach and energy healer. If this is your first time jumping in on this series, I'll tell you a little bit about this. Otherwise, you already know. So I felt inspired to put this series together to inspire everybody to do what they're passionate about and to follow their heart and include what they love to do in their lives, even if it's the smallest way, because it's so massively important for your overall well-being. And all the people that I've reached out to and connected with women all over the world so far in this series this year, they are women just like you. And we share a lot of the same struggles and obstacles, and they've all overcome them, and they all are doing what they're passionate about. So I thought I'd connect with them so that they can share their stories to inspire you and me. I get a lot out of this myself. So, and I'm glad that you are here and listening to these interviews, because your soul thanks you for listening when you do what you're passionate about. So today, Jana, I forgot to ask, is it DancynCloud? I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes.
Okay. I meant to ask you that before. So today I'm honored to introduce you to Jana DancynCloud, who you've now already seen. Jana holds a BA in Spanish language and an M.F.A. in dance, and is a certified massage therapist, Reiki master, and a fourth-generation intuitive healer and reader. She's originally from the Caribbean, of Spanish, African, and Arawak Indian descent, and she was born into a household of singers, dancers, doulas, and clairvoyant medium, curanderas. Am I saying that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Which are Hispanic female healers rooted in folk medicine. From birth, she was exposed to the powerful energies of 3 generations of women healers. Since age 4, Jana has been expressing her intuitive talents, and at age 5, she began learning the art of healing. Until each of their passing, Jana spent a lifetime working alongside these special women, and still today continues to feel their presence, influence, work, and guidance from beyond the divide. Hello, Jana. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hello, Cherrise. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. We've talked quite a bit now before this interview, so it feels like we're old friends.
Yes, it
does. So you've got such an interesting life as a multi-passionate person, and you've really seemed to, well, from my perspective, jump in and explore all of it and incorporate it into your life. And I think it's important to share stories of people such as yourself who don't feel that you just need to find that one thing that you're passionate about and follow that, because many people love so many things and want to incorporate them. So can you just share a little bit about your story of how you got to here and what you do, and incorporating everything that you love?
Absolutely. If you don't mind, let me just turn off the air so I can hear you a little better.
Sure.
Okay. Basically, there's many things that I was interested in from childhood. And of course, I was born into a family that actually did healing and readings. And in the country that I come from, which is Cuba, there are many women that are curanderas. This is very commonplace. And not only were they curanderas, but my family was also espiritistas, which means that they worked the spirit and they worked with people from the other side. In Cuba, it's looked upon as something very natural. So it was something that was very encouraged, not only by the family, but also by the community that I was in. So I was very passionate as a child to do readings. And it's something that I did as early as age 4. And basically, my grandmother used to sit me next to her when she would do the readings. And so every now and then she would turn around and say, "What do you think? You think that what I just said, do you want to add anything to that?" And this is basically how it started. And it's something that I did basically throughout all my life, all the way through the teens. Even presently, this is something that I have incorporated into my own line of work. And it's something that I love to do. But I also have been and still am a professional flamenco dancer. And I've delved into that from the early age of 11. And of course, I was trained in Spain, loved doing that. And then basically the healing was the last thing that I really got into. I was very resistant about that because it was something that both my grandmother and my mother were pushing me. And I don't have to tell you about teenagers not wanting to do what their parents want them to do. So I was very resistant because I was being pushed to do that. So I would say that the healing, basically, it's been a decade since I've dedicated myself to that. But before that, I really wanted nothing to do with it just because they wanted me to do it. So even though I resisted so much, I tell you that I get so much from healing others and being of service to others, which if you would have told me that at 17, I would probably just kind of laughed at you and said, whatever. But it's something that I totally love to do. And it brings me great joy when somebody actually has a breakthrough, when somebody actually has healing, whether it's emotional or mental or physical. And I feel that there's nothing, for me anyway, of more value than to help and heal others. So I have totally, all my life, whenever I felt anything that I was passionate about, I just delved into it. But I really have to credit my mother, because she was the type of woman that would say, if you have a dream, if you have a passion, if you have a desire, do it now. Don't worry about the money. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about the fear. Just go forth. If you feel fear, go ahead and do it anyway. More reason to do it is because you're afraid of it, and try to conquer it. And having her as that support system, totally pushing me forward and being my personal cheerleader, really had made a difference in my life for me to pursue those things that I felt very passionate about. So I have lived my whole life in search of knowledge. There's other things that I have done. I mean, I've been a Pilates instructor, and I did that for about 10 to 15 years. And of course, I taught Spanish, and I did that, oh my God, forever. 20 years of teaching Spanish through elementary or secondary school, because I loved teaching the language, and I loved children. So I always pursued whatever it was at that point that I felt that my soul wanted to do, I did. And this is why I've never really been worried about, am I going to make money off of this? Is this something that can support me? I just went and did it. And what I found out that is when you're passionate, the money comes. And you don't really need to worry about that, because when your soul is involved in the process, if your soul is calling that forth, it's because it's something that you have to do. And whenever you're in service of someone, and everything I've really done has been a service-oriented market, whether Pilates instructor or dance teacher or Spanish teacher or healer or reader, it's always been in service to someone else. So I find that when you pursue your passion, then that you are able to manifest in your life what you need, want, and desire, if it's of a positive nature for yourself.
Have you ever now it's really loud. I can hear myself. Have you ever done something, had a job or something that you totally resisted doing? Because it sounds like mostly you've done things that have kind of been on your path or that you've been interested in. Have you ever gone the other way, or you did something you were totally not into, but you did it?
Yes, I have. But every single job that I chose is because I was looking for a skill. For example, I worked in a bank I was very, very bad with, I still am very bad with math. And I could never balance a checkbook. I was a mess. So I decided to get a job at a bank so that I could understand how things were balanced, how it worked. And I stayed for 3 months. They offered me a management position, but I wasn't there for that. I know this sounds a little silly, but I wanted to learn how to balance my checkbook. And so I did.
Quite a way to learn.
I mean, I was young at that time. And I said, well, you know, when I learn how to balance my checkbook, I'm out of here. And I did. And then I wanted to be able, because I had problems with, when I was younger, with communicating. And I decided, well, what type of job can I get where I have to communicate besides teaching? Okay, this is before I became, you know, a Spanish teacher. So I decided to work in an answering service because I had a board of 100. And so I would have to speak to all these people and be very detailed, which I wasn't so much into detail back then. And basically I worked there for 6 months, and I became, because you had to be details, especially I worked on the doctor's board. So I had to be able to get the medications correct. I had to communicate whatever was going on with the client. I worked with a lot of psychiatrists. They were themselves crazy. So what the situation was is that it gave me a skill that I was looking for. So as soon as I found what the skill it was that I needed to obtain or to accomplish, I quit. And so, yes, those were jobs I did not enjoy. And I did not want to be there because of the way that people would treat me. But then again, I was after a specific skill. And once I accomplished it, I would be on my way. Yeah.
That is fantastic. I haven't met anybody who had that type of outlook on things, I guess. It's interesting to see. I think your mom, having supported you in that way growing up to pursue whatever you're interested in, probably, do you think that helped you with doing, choosing jobs that for skills that you wanted to learn? Because it's a very different approach. Whenever I take a job, I'm kind of like a long-termer, whether I like it or not. So I find that approach of just taking one to learn a new skill kind of very interesting.
I find that there are certain things that I have done in life that I got into massage therapy back in the 80s. And I studied with a gentleman called Suneo Kaneko, which was from Japan. And he was a shiatsu master, but he brought shiatsu anma, which anma is almost like, I would say, almost like chiropractic adjustments. And so he brought shiatsu anma to the United States. And he created a school in Santa Monica, California. And I went to study with him because I had been in a car accident. And I wanted to learn how to be able to heal myself because I was just not. It was not happening. And so I had a lot of neck pain and shoulder and lower back. And I decided, well, I'm going to learn how to do this in order for me to be able to help myself. And then in the meantime, as I started to do that, then I decided, you know, I love this work. I think I'm going to become a massage therapist. So I stayed at the school for 3 months. I studied with him every day, Monday through Friday, from 9 to 3. Most of the class was taught in Japanese because the points and everything else were in Japanese. His English was very bad. So even when he did speak English at that time, I could barely understand what he was saying. But the gentleman was just an incredible master. He was an acupuncturist. He was very knowledgeable, extremely intelligent, very compassionate and patient. And the class that he had, we were all youngsters. I mean, we were in our 20s. I think there were a couple of people that were in there. We even had people in their late teens in there. I think there were a couple of people that were probably in their early 30s. And the rest of us were all little kids in there trying to learn this skill. And I actually went full force into it. And then I took an applied kinesiology class called Touch for Health, which really kind of blended so well with the shiatsu. And of course, there was a massage being offered, Swedish massage being offered through his school. So I took that as well. And then I went into massage therapy full force. I stayed in it for about, I don't know, 4 years, but then I started to work as a full-time dancer. And it was just too much for me to dance all day long and then, rehearse and perform. And then at night, starting at 6 o'clock to 10, do massage. My body couldn't take it. So I gave it up and pursued performing professionally with dance companies. And then I went back to Spain and I performed there for a period of time as well. And then came back again and decided, okay, so now what do we do? So then I went back to school and got a master's in dance because I felt that I wanted to teach dance at the university level. So, and yeah, my mom, like I said, was totally cheering me on 100% all the time. Had she not been that way, no, I don't think I would have reached to be much. Why? Because my dad was totally the opposite. So his thing is, you need to settle down and do something, get a real job. That was his thing, get a real job. And your head is up in the clouds and you're not being realistic. And my brother did follow that path, but since I was rebellious because he wanted me to do that, so then I went in the opposite direction. And so and my mother, anytime, anything I decided to do, whatever it was, she would say, that's such a great job you're doing. That's fantastic. And she would sit with me when I would come home and she would ask me about my day. And then she would give me some suggestions of how I could improve whatever I was doing. And she was just a very lovely soul, a very advanced soul that really lived to just support and love people, full of compassion. She would feed the kids in the neighborhood whose parents didn't make enough money to feed them properly. And that's the way she was. So growing up with somebody like that, she was a fantastic role model. And like I said, if she wasn't there behind me, no. Because I lived in the Bronx as a child, in the South Bronx. And that was a very, very tough, very dangerous area. And without the guidance of my mom, I don't know if I would have turned out to be the person I am today. She was very emphatic about education, very emphatic that women should be independent, and very emphatic that success was something that everybody could have if they really believed in it. Talk about, the law of attraction, and this is a woman who was born in the 1920s and had no knowledge of any of this, but that's the way she was. So yeah, I'm very grateful to her for that. Yeah.
I wonder if your parents had conflict with their very different views.
Yes, they were in conflict over me, not over my brother, because my brother did things. Yeah, tried and true. So he would say to her, it's your fault she's like this. It's your fault because you support all this stuff that is just, your head up in the clouds and you're not giving her a good foundation for life. How is she going to survive? And my mother would say, don't worry about her. She'll get it together. She'll do it. I have confidence in her. She supported my brother the same way. I mean, whatever he wanted to do. But my brother always wanted to do things that were tried and true, things that he knew he could get work, that he could make money. Well, yeah, he's a great businessman today. Yeah, very successful at what he does. But even we were talking about this a couple of days ago, that he was saying to me, I am who I am today, and I've gone as far as I've gotten in my career because of her. So, yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic. I bet everybody wishes they grew up that way.
I always thought my mother was my good karma. You know? A person that But she was like that with everybody. You know, it wasn't only to us. Even the kids whose parents were never home because they held 2 or 3 jobs and the kids were home by themselves. And she would just come over and tell the kids, tell your parents that if they want to stay here with me during the daytime after school, I'm willing to bring you back with me and I'll feed you. She doesn't have to give me any money. And that's the way she was. Yeah. I mean, there were so many children at my place all the time. But yeah, we lived in a poor neighborhood. But my mother was very lucky. I mean, she knew how to sew. She used to make these incredible pastries, and she would sell them. Okay, she was a real entrepreneur. And then on the side, she drove a taxi.
Wow.
So she had a part-time job as a taxi driver. She would make these incredible pastries that she would sell. And then at one point she said, you know what, I think that I want to do something more. So I think I want to do hair. I want to do hair and facials and nails and all that. So she went to beauty school. And yeah, she did. She did that too. So basically what she was doing for herself, she kind of instilled it in her own kids as well. And she wanted to make sure that each one of us had some sort of a skill in the arts. So she put me in dance classes when I was 3. And my father said, you're making a big mistake. You're taking her to dance class. If she likes it, she's a goner. That's it. She's going to
goner.
She's going to starve to death. Why are you doing this? She put my brother in the car. So my brother is a very accomplished guitarist. And I went to become a professional dancer. He was right. I did like it. So, and he would have a fit. You see, she's gone touring. It's your fault. She gave her all these dance classes 5 days a week. I told you not to take her. Why didn't you take her to piano? No, you couldn't take her to piano. Took her to dance. Yeah, so I think that he only once, I think I was already in my late 30s and I was performing in Mexico. And I said to both of them, I said, if you like, you know, I can get you airfare for you to go there and get to see me perform. And I was so surprised when he said, okay, I'll go. And it was his birthday, so it was part of a gift that I was giving. I thought he was going to go, no, I don't want to, because that's what he always said. Yeah. So then when he saw me performing, he said, oh, my God, I had no idea she could do this. So that was a situation then. So yeah.
That's great, though, because it's taken you throughout your whole life to now. So, gosh, from 3 years old and then to pursue an education in dance so that you could teach others to dance. See, so it wasn't all a lost cause. You taught others.
Yeah, well, I always said that I had a very good dance career, and as a teacher, I'm never in lack of students. I have a big arsenal of students. A lot of them study with me privately. In fact, I have a lot of students that study with me through Skype nationwide.
Wow.
So, yeah. And that's what the majority of my students are through Skype. And then I have a small group of women that I teach here in Minnesota. And yeah, in a year's time, they're already performing, which is very unusual, but these are very dedicated women. They take group and private lessons and they practice every day. So now they're performing and they've only been taking classes for a year. And a lot of the people think they've been studying longer, but no, it's the dedication they have. And I've been lucky that way. I've had very loyal, very dedicated students. I give them my all, but I also get a lot in return. So I'm very proud of them. They're like my kids. They
feel your passion. So
yeah, and they love it. And for me to see them perform, I mean, for me to see them get applause means more to me than me getting applause, because I've done it for so many years that, you know what I'm saying? It's okay, but when my students get applause, oh my goodness, that makes my day. yeah, I love it.
That's fantastic. Do you have any daily practices that you do maybe that that you'd like to share with people that kind of keep you on track, and even if you feel like throwing in the towel, because there hasn't been anybody yet that I've talked to that hasn't had those moments of, I'm just gonna ditch this, you know?
Well, I think that when you grow up being a dancer, discipline, teachers are our teachers are very harsh with us. Even from the time that you're 3 or 4 years old, you're expected to maintain a certain amount of discipline in the classroom. And I remember being 7 and knowing that I was very thirsty for water, but I couldn't ask because teachers don't let you go to the bathroom.
Wow.
They don't. Back when I was growing up, yeah, they wouldn't let you go to the bathroom. They wouldn't let you drink water until it was break time. And that's how it was. And if you said, oh, my foot hurts, I'm tired, get up and do it again. Get up and do it again. So I trained my whole life from age 3 onward. I mean, it's only been the last 5 years that I'm not training. So you're expected not to talk, to be quiet, to pay attention. So you grow up with this discipline that you don't give up ever, because if you do, you lose the competition. Even if you know you're going to lose the competition, you try. So I find that I tend to persevere and be super persistent, even in situations where I should just walk away. And I'm talking about goals, okay? And people that see me either say, you know, you're being OCD or you're being just super stubborn, but they don't understand the background. When I'm around dancers, they look at it as being normal because this is what we're trained to do. So as far as throwing the towel, I wouldn't say so much in personal goals or in dreams that I've had or in my passion, but it's more in things that I did not want to do. For example, when I went to school, they make you take a core of classes. I do not like math. I do not like math. And I had to take all these math courses that I had absolutely no interest. I did not like geology. There was a lot of this chemistry. It was like torture to me. And so I'm a free spirit, and basically I'm more of a creative individual versus detail oriented in that way. And to me, yes, that was horrific. What kept me on track? Dance. Every morning, I still do it. Every morning I get up, I do Pilates, and I practice dancing every morning, regardless of how I feel. And I walk. I walk every day, whether it's on a treadmill. Well, here where there's snow 7 months out of the year, sometimes I can't walk in the midst of a snowstorm. So I do. I just, you know, I do a treadmill, but every day I do a treadmill, I do Pilates, I dance. And then that discipline of doing that then sets kind of the stage for the rest of the day. And regardless whether I'm happy or sad or what's happening, there's no excuse for it ever for me not to do it. So for those people that do not dance or that do not do Pilates or anything, you have to find something that, as you said to me when we were doing that coaching, you said you have to make a priority where there's no negotiating not doing this. And if you find that and you do that on a daily basis and you commit to that and you're loyal to that, then you find that that kind of sets the mood for the day for you to do whatever else you need to do. And of course, I keep a list. I have a notebook that I keep a list of everything I do or everything that I have to do in order to keep me on track. That it's difficult sometimes, yes, because I'm human. Sometimes I just want to eat chocolate and go to sleep.
That's right. There are those days. There are those days, and I think
those days that I go, no, I want to do pizza. I don't want to do the green juice in the morning. I want a slice of cold pizza.
I say everything in moderation, because I don't think you should deny yourself things that you really want, as long as it's not self-destructive or something like that, you know.
Absolutely, I agree with you. But like I said, there's no negotiating not doing the green juice. Even though I'd rather have a piece of chocolate with an almond in it, or have some Nutella or on toast. But there's some things you just can't negotiate. And you're absolutely correct on that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But no, I do have pizza and I do have chocolate. But those are my weekend treats. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I guess what starts your day out with something you enjoy. Some people might like to meditate or listen to a guided meditation, going for a walk, or whatever kind of feels good to you, that doesn't feel like a push or a struggle, really, because nobody wants to struggle the first thing they wake up in the morning.
I agree.
Set the pattern and the motion for the rest of the day would really help to do those things, and probably refresh your perspective so that you're kind of clearing that slate for the day too, and probably end up being a lot more productive by doing that.
I think that doing something that brings pleasure when we first get up in the morning definitely does help. I like to play my crystal bowls. I love doing that. It just the sound of it just makes me feel centered and very joyful and happy. And then after that, I start doing what I need to do. And that definitely helps for me. Yeah. That meditation with the crystal bowls, there's nothing like it. Absolutely. And so people have to find that particular thing that motivates them, that brings you calm and centering, and whatever that happens to be, you know. I know my friend looks at Korean soap operas early in the morning, and that gets her going. That's her thing. And then she says, you know, after I watch all the drama and that, then I kind of feel that, hey, I'm okay. And that's how she starts her day. And I always say, whatever works for you, basically.
Absolutely, whatever works. That's funny. Most of us would think of something, you know, calm, you know, easing into your day, just not watching some foreign drama.
Well, let me put it to you this way. When your own life, and it's not her personal life that has drama, it's her work life. It has a tremendous amount of drama. So she kind of thought that if she looked at something that had more drama than she was experiencing, that would kind of calm her down. And it works for her. I mean, she goes to work, and now she's not talking about, oh, I don't want to go. She goes, you know what? I can face today. That's what she says to me. I can face today. I just watched a good half an hour of Korean soap opera, and I'm okay.
That's awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap this up, but you have a very exciting, generous free gift for the first 5 people who contact you on Facebook. So go ahead and tell me about that. And I have to say that I highly recommend this. Even if you're not one of the first 5, I would jump in anyway, because Jana and I did talk probably a couple weeks ago, and it really kind of gives you the nudge you might need and a little insight. So go ahead and share.
So for the first 5 people that contact me on Facebook, if you have a question that you need to be answered, to get insight into a situation, just private message me on Facebook under Jana DancynCloud, and I'd be more than happy to answer your question either through Skype or, if you want, through phone.
That's awesome. I highly recommend people jump on that too, because it's definitely, she's got some great guides that are right there to jump in. And this link will be available on my website, CherriseBoucher.com, under the Inspire View series. This is part 2 of the year. So this is where her interview and the link to her free gift and also the MP3 version version will be. I don't know what kind of Freudian slip that was. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your story, because I love the whole multi-passionate. There's like so many awesome sides to you. And you shared some things I didn't even know today too. So it's very exciting and interesting to talk to you. And I hope we can certainly connect again very, very, very soon.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me. This has been a blast. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Cherrise.
All right.